Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Evie, strong style, cinephile on WandaVision episode 5. Let's geek about it for a scant few minutes. Now, critics in the beginning were given the first 3 episodes of WandaVision to kind of review and kind of give their take on it before it premiered on Disney+. They weren't given the 4th episode because, as we know, the 4th episode kind of tears the Band-Aid off and kind of reveals, pulls back the veil and kind of really shows us what's going on in the town of Westview. And as Geraldine, we find out, is Monica Rambeau, how she was sucked into Westview and subsequently kicked out of Westview by Wanda, and she realizes it's all Wanda. And that's kind of where we figure out from the last episode. And then into this episode, things are starting, I think, to unravel a bit for Vision. Vision is due to early interaction with Agnes when they can't get the babies to kind of stop crying. Wanda's trying to get them to stop crying, and I even think she's trying to, do her little stuff to make them stop crying, and they don't. And then Agnes comes over and offers to take care of them, and then she kind of, I guess, flubs a line, if you will, and then kind of, she has this look of fear on her face and kind of asks Wanda if she wants her to like redo it, kind of take it back to 1, and then redo the scene. Because we've seen in other episodes where there have been jump cuts and rewinds and kind of Wanda resetting the scene, if you will. So it's kind of like Agnes is asking her, hey, do you want to do this? And Vision's kind of looking at this like, hey, do you not see how she's acting? It's funny, something's going on. So Vision is, even in the other episodes, some of the interactions with other characters, when the doctor talking about how, small towns is so hard to escape, when Herb is, cutting down into the bricks, and then kind of warning Vision about Geraldine being, in their home alone with Wanda. So he's starting to just realize there's just something not right with the world and what's going on. And that continues because he has an interaction with somebody at work where there's a strange message that comes through the computer, through the electronic mail that they set up, and then he kind of uses his power to actually kind of unlock the dude's right mind, and he realizes he's got family, he's got a call and contact, and then kind of Vision kind of puts him back. But he kind of realizes at that moment there's just something not right with what's going on. Now, outside of Westview, because now we get not just the sitcom stuff, we kind of see what's going on outside. We see that SWORD is plotting with how to deal with Wanda. They see her as a terrorist. We see footage of where she went in and stole Vision's body and has apparently reanimated it to live with her in this idyllic little town setting where they can raise their 2 kids and just have an ideal sort of life. And Monica comes up with a way for them to get another drone into the world. As you know, the drone is armed with a missile, which Monica didn't know about. Wanda is next seen kind of emerging from Westview in her Scarlet Witch outfit, in her Scarlet Witch accent, and kind of tells them to stay out, basically, don't bother her. They kind of point out to her that, hey, you're holding these people hostage, but she's just still singularly focused on just maintaining the status quo of the town and this life that she has made for herself with Vision. In the discussion about her, it's touched on the fact that she has telepathic and telekinetic powers. What's not touched on and not realized in that conversation, but realized as the episode goes on, is that they're realizing the scale of Wanda's reality-altering powers, which I said before that I think this series is just laying the groundwork for showing us that Wanda has these grand-scale powers, and they're going to use them at some point in time to kind of just, blip the MCU again and reset it using Wanda. I mean, I don't think they're going to do it right now. They're just going to put her on a shelf and just take her off when they need to do it. And she does her little funny hand wave thing, or maybe she speaks, the line, like she says no more mutants in the comics and shut off all the mutant powers. Maybe she says something in the MCU and just totally resets everything. That's what I think one of their long-term goals for this is. But back inside Westview, again, Vision is just realizing that something is off. It's even kind of pushed further when the kids are suddenly aged up to like 5 or something like that. Next you know, they want a dog, and then the Vision says they can't have a dog until they're 10. Next you know, they turn themselves into 10-year-olds. And Vision is worried about that and worried about Agnes seeing their displays of powers because they've been trying so hard to kind of conceal who they are. Whereas Wanda's like kind of growing tired of that. Now, is she just is it Wanda herself growing tired of this, or is there some other external force kind of pushing her into this? See, a lot of people are kind of theorizing that it's one of these characters is really Mephisto, and he's pushing her to do this, or another sort of magical Marvel Universe entity is pushing her to do this, to manipulate these people in this world. I really hope that it's just all Wanda, that she just started with this small idea of just wanting this this happy life with Vision, and it just spiraled out of her control. Will she return to being a total good guy at the end of this? Remains to be seen, because we know this spills over into Doctor Strange somehow. We've only got a few episodes left to kind of for this to wrap up, so it remains to be seen kind of how it all plays out. But again, going back to Vision, he's just realizing there's something going on. He even has a confrontation with Wanda that gets kind of heated, where he tells her he doesn't know who he is before Westview. He's trying to remember, and he just sees there's no other children in Westview. He's just noticing all these things, and he's just telling Wanda to just let people go, to stop doing what she's doing, whereas Wanda is maintaining that it's not her, that she's like, do you think I would actually control all these people to do all these things? We know that she can. So again, is it truly Wanda not knowing what's going on, being manipulated by an exterior force, or is she just lying to Vision? Remains to be seen. And then of course, the end of the episode had a cameo of sorts, because Evan Peters, Fox's Quicksilver, shows up as a recasted, as Darcy puts it, Pietro. So it remains to be seen kind of how that goes and what he's used for. Is he Mephisto? Remains to be seen. I mean, it's just, that's one thing about this show that I like and enjoy, that I hope they bring to Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki. This show is something different than what we've seen out of the other MCU projects and products, and that's what it needs. Everything that they do just needs to be different. So it's not cookie cutter, it's not formulaic, and it's not boring, it's stale. It's just, it needs to just come at it from a different angle, a different sort of a genre angle, and I like this and I hope it continues with the other shows. But it remains to be seen what Evan Peters is. I believe that I'd read that Wanda, or Elizabeth Olsen, was teasing like a Luke Skywalker-esque level cameo for WandaVision. I don't think that Evan Peters is it, because I do believe before that it was said that Evan Peters was coming into the show. So I don't think he would count as a Luke Skywalker-esque cameo, at least not to me. I'm hoping that's not the case. I would think like Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, that would be that sort of level of cameo, but it remains to be seen how that plays out, how Evan Peters comes in, if he is indeed the Quicksilver of the Fox universe with the powers and the history and everything, or is he just Joe Schmo guy that Wanda uses to recast to have her brother on. Remains to be seen how it plays out. But it's interesting, and I'm just kind of wondering if Vision, once he fully realizes that he was dead and that she brought him back, is he going to kind of be against her in that regard, to kind of put things back the way that they were, that he was dead, he needs to remain dead, as much as painful as it is for her, as much as it would suck for him because he was alive and they were happy, they had kids. But it's not the way things are supposed to be, and she's going to have to make a sacrifice to let him, let him go and let him go back, resting or dead, or however you want to put it. Remains to be seen how it all goes, but it was an interesting episode. It was cool to kind of see how things develop and how they're just growing and changing across the show. The sitcom era changes are, of course, still humorous. Love that type of stuff. And I'm really curious to kind of see how this all shakes out with Wanda in the end. Is she truly the villain? Is she just manipulated by an exterior force and she's the victim, just like these people in the town are victims? I mean, I hope it's really not cut and dry. I hope there are lots of shades of gray to how this kind of shakes out for Wanda and her character evolution across the MCU to this point and into Doctor Strange and beyond, however many, so I don't even know how many movies or projects she's contracted for. But it'd be cool to just kind of see her, follow her along this journey and to see where she ends up related to the others and where the MCU ends up with her and her powers and what's going on. So remains to be seen. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts on it, scattered as they often are. What do you guys have to think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me social media. Talk to me there. Talk to me here. Till then, let us geek.